The Seattle Seahawks just won the Super Bowl with former Ravens coach Mike Macdonald. How did they do it? Through their draft process. It's Mock Draft Monday, so let's rebuild the Ravens through this year's draft to win their first Super Bowl in over 10 years next season. Here we go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to see that daily Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, and in the comment section down below, let me know your thoughts on my draft, the players that I take. And this video is being live streamed while I'm recording, but the mock draft is already completed. I was at work and I was like, I can't get this video out until probably about 7 or 7:30. So I figured, why not do it live so you guys can be in the chat, be talking to each other, be talking to me. I'm not going to be responding to chats a lot during it, but if somebody says something really important, I might bring it up. But I figured it would be a fun way that I won't do consistently, but I just wanted to try it out. So let me know your thoughts on every pick. If you don't like players that I take, let me know why. If you really like players that I take, let me know why. But without further ado, let's jump into this draft. If you're new to the channel, new to the series, every Monday of the Baltimore Ravens offseason, I upload a mock draft Monday, 7 rounds, no trades. I've been using PFF, and this time I was like, you know what, we're going to up the randomness a little bit. Not all the way to the max. Like, I upgraded it 2 ticks on the PFF simulator thing, just because I was like, hey, let's see what's going to happen. You know, might as well see what's happening and see everything that goes on. So, round 1, pick 14, Kyle Hamilton jersey for a reason. I decided to go with a wide receiver. And I feel like if the Ravens go wide receiver, unfortunately, Mekhi Lemon is not my guy. I like Mekhi Lemon in the draft, but, you know, if we get Mekhi Lemon, we're not keeping Zay Flowers. So we're using a 14th pick to get rid of one of the better players in the Baltimore Ravens offense. That doesn't make sense to me. Let's get somebody that can pair well with him. Let's go get a big guy. Let's go get the best wide receiver in the draft, because Jordan Tyson, yes, Baltimore, get up. Jordan Tyson was available at pick 14. Very excited to get him. First time I've taken a wide receiver by far this early. I haven't even taken a wide receiver round 2 yet, but I finally got a wide receiver 1 with my first pick. Jordan Tyson is a prototypical wide receiver 1 coming out of college. He's 6'2". He can catch the ball downfield. He can make the acrobatic catch. He can make the physical catch, and he gets open. You might be saying, this guy sounds perfect. And I would say, when he's on the field, it's just about as good as you can get in the collegiate football game. The problem is he does have an injury history. That is something the Ravens need to be aware of. That is the only reason that he could ever possibly slide in this draft. He's expected to run, according to NFL Draft Buzz, a 4.5 flat 40-yard dash. So, like, maybe if he runs like a 4.58, he slides because he's doing it injured. But, like, the only reason he would fall is if there is medical history. Like, that's the only thing. But, hey, he fell in this random draft. I figured I got to take him. He is an absolute star player. Last year, statistics-wise, 97 targets, 61 receptions, 711 yards, 8 touchdowns, 1 drop, 11.7 yards per reception. He also had 1 rushing touchdown and like 4 rushing yards. So nothing spectacular on the rushing aspect. But him with Zay Flowers would not be the same players. They would both be able to get open. But he is the X. He would be the guy that absolutely dominates for this Baltimore Ravens offense, not just next year, but every year that he is on the team. Would be absolutely stoked to get him. I don't necessarily think he's going to be available, but he was available. I had to take him. That's how talented he is. Moving on to round 2, pick 45. Let's help out the offense. I know we just brought in Jesse Minter, but I want to get Lamar Jackson even more help. Let's keep Lamar in Baltimore. Let's start that, right? Let's go after an offensive lineman. And I decided to go with Emmanuel Pregnon out of the University of Oregon, former USC Trojan. Last year, allowed 0 sacks. He was playing left guard basically every single snap. He had 55 snaps at right guard, but he was a left guard. We need a left guard. I know people will say maybe Andrew Voorhees, maybe Emory Jones. Pregnon would be the starting left guard for this Baltimore Ravens team. Now, Emory Jones could absolutely be the starter at right guard. I'm not counting that out, but Pregnon would be better than him. He has played guard. He is good at guard. He has the size at guard. I think he's 6 foot. Yeah, he's 6'5", 318 pounds. 0 sacks allowed last year. PFF has his grades at 88.4 grade, 88 flat pass block, 88.3 run block. So third in guards and for run blocking, 12th for pass blocking last year, second overall. Very dominant player for the Oregon Ducks last year. And when you look at his stats, 1 penalty, 0 sacks, 1 hit allowed, 3 total pressures. And that's 21st in the country in terms of total pressures. Would be, yeah. Baltimore Get Up says he screams day one starter, hands down. I couldn't agree more. That's what I want. If I draft an offensive lineman, if I draft a guard, he better be playing right away. And if he doesn't, that's a poor pick. If you draft an interior offensive lineman, you can't get him on the field right away. Pregnant, you could get him on the field right away. Next up, round 3, pick 80. Sorry, I got to help out Jesse Minter at some point. We got to get a pass rusher. I've drafted him before. I think he fits the Baltimore Ravens system. He's a good differentiator between himself and Mike Green. So we could have them both on the field every snap if we wanted to. We could have them rotate. He would rotate more with Tavius Robinson, I think. Dennis Sutton out of Penn State. 6'5", 265 pounds. Last year's stats, he had 6 sacks, 26 hurries, 13 hits. But one of the best things that he does is he gets out there and he both stops the run and rushes the passer. He's an edge rusher that is physical. He's strong. And he's going to go out there and he's going to play good football. And these Penn State edge rushers are typically pretty good. And I know that people are going to look at Adafe and say, oh, but look, Adafe wasn't that good. And it's like, actually, Adafe went out last year. He was good. Just not on the Ravens because we didn't have a defensive coordinator that knew how to utilize him. Guess what? Now we got Jesse Minter. He does know how to utilize talent, and he would be able to utilize Dennis Sutton to get him on the field, not necessarily as a day one starter, but I think as maybe a day one contributor. Absolutely. He would be competing with Adisa Isaac, another former Penn State guy. He'd be competing with Tavius Robinson and potentially another edge rusher that we bring in free agency or through the draft. You know, we're looking at potentially bringing back Kyle Van Noy. We're looking at maybe bringing back David Ojabo, maybe bringing back Draymond Jones. All of these guys would be competing for snaps. He has the type of a frame to play opposite Mike Green, which is what I'm looking for, which is why I haven't drafted Cassius Howell yet, as I don't think him and Mike Green fit very well together. Not that Cassius Howell is a bad prospect. I think he's a really good prospect, but he and Mike Green are too similar in terms of the way that they win, which is why I haven't drafted him. Next up, round 4, pick 115. I figured, hey, we do have defensive issues. Let's keep solving them. Let's get a guy with high potential. And that would be cornerback Davison Igbinosun out of the Ohio State University. He's not necessarily the most polished player. He's fast and he's big though. 6'2". He's expected, according to Draft Buzz, to run a sub 4.35, which would be incredible at his size. He's an outside cornerback that he would be a backup for us, but he at least has legitimate playing experience on one of the best teams in the country, playing for an NFL defensive coordinator in Matt Patricia. So he's played in the NFL style before. You want to see his stats. Last year, 28 tackles, 1 interception, 16 receptions allowed, 5 PBUs, 2 total pressures, but I don't necessarily care about total pressures as a DB, but 4 stops, and 28 solo tackles. He's not a good run stopper, but he's physical, or not he's physical. He has the physical traits to be able to become a really solid corner in the NFL, and I think why not take a flyer on a guy that has the true size and speed that you're looking for as an outside cornerback, especially when you already have a Nate Wiggins. We would have crazy speed there, and that would really help, especially with Jesse Minter, with RJ Mickens. I think that I think it's RJ. It's RJ Mickens as the coach that we hired, or is RJ Mickens the safety that we hired a couple years that we were looking at in the draft? I can't remember, but I know it's Mickens, the DB coach for Notre Dame. But moving into round 5, we've got 4 fifth-round picks. So when I'm looking at this Ravens 5th round, I'm looking at let's get the guys that I think can contribute, but let's also get guys that just have unbelievable potential. First off, I wanted to go get a guy that can contribute. Somebody that did well at the Senior Bowl, that has been rising on draft boards, comes from a smaller school, and at a position of need. And I know I already drafted a wide receiver, but let's go get another one. Let's go get Georgia State wide receiver Ted Hurst. Ted Hurst at Georgia State last year, 71 receptions, 999 yards, 6 touchdowns. The year before, 100 targets, 56 receptions, 961 for 9 touchdowns. He had 7 drops last year. That is the major concern with him. 12.6 yards average depth of target. Deep receiving yards, 377, 71 screen yards, 162 slot yards. But the big thing that people are looking at, 16 contested catches. That is top 10 in college football last year. He brings the contested catch rate. He brings the deep ball ability the Baltimore Ravens fans have been looking for. I'm not saying we need him because Tez Walker can't perform, but I'm just saying getting wide receivers in the building is a positive. That's what we need. Baltimore Get Up also said he moves the chains as well. Absolutely. That's one of the biggest things the Ravens need is they need guys that they can put out in big situations and they can dominate. Ted Hurst is one of those guys. He would be competing with Tez Walker. Maybe if we bring back Tylan Wallace, he would be competing with those guys to be back-end wide receivers, but he has the potential to be a legitimate weapon for this offense. Again, I want to help out Declan Doyle. I want to help out Lamar Jackson. Let's get guys with potential. Let's get guys that are legit. Next up, round 5 pick 160. Now I went with potential. Xavier Harris. I've drafted this guy multiple times. He's 6'8". He's 330 pounds. He is a 3-tech. He is going to go out there and stop the run and rush the passer. He is physical. He can play across the line of scrimmage, and I want him on this defense. He would not be a day one starter, but he would definitely be a day one rotational piece on the interior. I would much rather have him out there than Broderick Washington. He would be behind Travis Jones and Fubb, and obviously Matabike if he's there. But he has the potential. That size, that physicality, that's what I need on the Ravens defensive line. He plays like a Raven. I want him on the Ravens. Let's get it done. Next up, round 5 pick 172. I went with his teammate Daquan Wright, becoming one of my favorite tight end prospects in this year's class, especially for the value. He reminds me of Isaiah Likely in the way that he plays in college. He can't block to save his life, but he has the size to potentially become a blocker. Remember, the Ravens turned Likely into a blocker, but he is physical after the catch. He catches the ball over the middle of the field. He is going to go out there and be a potential pass-catching threat on day one for any NFL team. And you look at Declan Doyle's offense last year. I know he wasn't calling the plays, but they ran a lot of 2 tight ends. Both Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet were very involved in the offense. The Ravens will need a secondary pass-catching tight end. I don't think we're going to re-sign Isaiah Likely. Let's get a pass-catching tight end, especially in round 5 when we have 4 picks. Let's get a guy like a Daquan Wright because he can come out and he can make an impact right away. He gets you yak. He gets you the physical yards. He is going to be a player in the NFL. And I don't mean he's going to play. I mean he's going to be good in the NFL. Big fan of Daquan Wright. He also played with Trinidad Chambliss, who is a improvising quarterback. So he does have that, at least a little bit of history playing with a guy that scrambles out of the pocket. How do you move to him? How do you move the ball? How do you play that scramble drill? That sort of stuff. Next up, round 5 pick 173, literally the next pick. I went with another defensive player. I went with Devin Marshall out of NC State. Devin Marshall, 5'11", outside cornerback. He's definitely raw, but again, we need defensive backs on this team. He has 2 interceptions each of the last 2 years. He's allowed like a good amount of yards, but he was their number 1 corner. He's had some big plays. He has good enough speed to play. He's not a burner by any means, but he has enough traits where I'm like, it's worthwhile taking. Again, we need depth. I know we took Longer Beam. I know we took Kone last year, but they both went on season-ending IR very early. We need depth. Let's go out there and get players that will add depth. That's what I think Devin Marshall's going to do. Next up, round 7. pick 249. And with these round 7 picks, I'm not looking for anything in particular. I'm either looking for value or I'm looking for just like legitimate, like, hey, this guy's no matter what going to be a backup. Like, there's no chance he starts. So first off, I went with Bryce Foster, center out of Kansas. Why would you go center? We have Tyler Linderbaum. Well, we need a backup center. I know we drafted Nick Samick a couple of years ago. It's a good thing he hasn't seen action. You know, Tyler Linderbaum has been pretty healthy, but we don't know what's going to happen with him. Let's get somebody in the building. Let's get them competing. Last year, allowed 0 sacks, 1 hit, 12 hurries, so 13 total pressures, which is very good. He only had 3 penalties, which isn't that bad, and he's seen as a much better pass blocker than run blocker. But he's 6'5", 310 pounds. You know, we could utilize a backup center. That's really what I was looking at. I already drafted a guard. I didn't want to draft like a super late tackle, so I decided to go with a center to potentially be. Yeah, and Samick got cut, so like he's not even here, but it's similar to the sense that, hey, we've drafted backup centers in the 7th round before. Let's do it again. And then the final pick, this guy's not going in round 7. That would be one of the biggest falls in draft history. But he was available as like the 4th quarterback. I don't know what PFF is doing with their quarterback grades, but Cole Payton was available, quarterback out of North Dakota State, and he's legit. Like, he's like a legit quarterback prospect. There's no way he drops that far. I think there's a decent chance he ends up going day 2 with how he performed at the Senior Bowl. He's a ready quarterback. He has a kind of weird throwing motion. He doesn't throw the ball super pretty, but he produces. Last year, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He had 26 big-time throws, which is 14th in college football. He threw for 2,719 yards, 226 pass attempts. He can also run. He had 514 rushing yards, 13 rushing touchdowns on only 54 scrambles, and 380 designed runs. So he at least would be able to do similar things. I mean, he's not the athlete that Lamar Jackson is, but he at least has mobility. He at least has the ability to run, but he's a passer. This is a passing quarterback, and I think that like if the Ravens want a backup quarterback for Lamar, having someone that can run design runs, having someone that can go out there and, you know, throw the ball, sling the rock, this guy can do it. And again, this guy's not falling to the 7th round, but I saw he was available, and I was like, yeah, I'll draft him. Like, if he's ever available in the 7th round, the Ravens need to draft him because he's that good of a player. But that's going to do it for this mock draft. I'll run through the names again because I didn't have time to make the graphic. Jordan Tyson, Emmanuel Pregnon, Denis Dennis Sutton, Davison Igbinosun, Ted Hurst, Xavier Harris, Daquan Wright, Devin Marshall, Bryce Foster, and Cole Payton. Let me know in the comments section down below what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more, and I'll see all of you again tomorrow with a regularly recorded video.